Okay, you guys, so I decided to film my reaction just in case. But I just got back from the gym right now, so that just excuse how I look. But I'm so out of breath because I'm so nervous. But I can't even talk. We just received our NBDHE boards results. I fucking passed. You I can't even,
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am finally filming how I studied for boards and all about the boards, just everything about the boards. I finally did it. I know I said this like what, 5 months, 6 months ago, but here it is. As of today, I am finally a licensed dental hygienist. I'm currently working already. I know that I told you guys that I was going to film videos and put out more content because I was finally out of school, but I actually took those 1.5 months just to relax and like spend time with family. Like I didn't want to like burn myself out. Like I didn't want to be burnt out. Yeah, anyways, I am back. I will be talking about, like I said, all about boards. Yeah, so for the boards, I'm based off of Connecticut, which only had 3 exams in total, which is the Prometrics and the clinical boards portion, and the NBDHE, which is the national one that every state has to take, like the big test. But in other states, you might have to take more than three.
Rude.
In other states, like for example, Washington, I think you have to take 5 or 6 exams in total, which includes the clinical and the national. Everyone nationwide has to take the clinical and the national NBDHE, but there's little ones that you take like for local anesthesia or for like nitrous. And some states even do like let the hygienists do some like light restorations. I don't know much about it because I'm based in Connecticut only and I only know Connecticut laws. I did the Prometrics first, and then the second part is the clinical one, and then the clinical boards, and the last one is the NBDHE. The NBDHE for me this year was a long test one, which is a 9 hour one. I think last year they did the intermediate, or I think short. I think they did short for 6 hours. I'm not sure. But all I know is this year they made us take the long version one, which is 9 hours.
I know. 9 hours. NBDHE.
The first test I did was the Prometrics, and basically what Prometrics is just like it's like the OSCE or the ADEX. I'm not sure. I think it used to be called the NERB. I think that's what it used to be called. I'm not sure, but today it's called the ADEX or OSCE. It's the computer version one. It's 100 questions. I think you get an hour and a half or 2 hours in total to finish everything. It just tests your diagnostic skills basically. I think that's the best way I could explain it, but I took the whole entire time because I was overthinking every question. And what it was is just like a bunch of radiographs and like that, like I said, like that, they test your diagnostic skills. Like you basically say what you see in the radiograph, or like it's not just radiographs, but majority of it was, and instrumentations and all that stuff. What I used to study for the Prometrics was this app called Dental Tease. I'm not sure if I used an app, but you can use it on your phone, but I used my laptop for it. I think it's $30, and you get this huge PowerPoint about everything that will be, I guess, getting covered for the Prometrics, and I think it was 400 slides in total. And at the end of every like topics or subjects that they talk about, there's like a mini quiz. And personally, what I found it helpful was that majority of, not majority, but some of the questions that was practice questions on Dental Tease was the actual questions on my Prometrics, which helped me a ton. A lot of my friends also bought the Student RDH Prometric ones, and that one is a little pricier because I think it was $75. My good friend let me use her, Prometric review from Student RDH. She just shared me her login and stuff like that, and I was able to use it. That one was really helpful too. I think that the difference between Dental Tease and student RDH is that the student RDH is a little bit more updated in terms of medical emergencies, you know, the blood pressure stages and stuff like that. It's a little bit more updated. And I think dental T's, I think they had minor errors about it. But what I've learned is that there will be errors in every type of review, type of packet review, or anything that you buy, even the ones that I use to study for the MBDHE. That had a lot of errors too. With the Prometrics, once you finished, once you click submit, it will tell you right away whether it's a pass or a fail. It doesn't tell you your score, it just says pass or fail. I was sweating in the chair in my little cubicle because we were in like tiny cubicles. People were just taking their tests and whatever, and I was so scared. I was shaking just to press submit because I was like, if this says fail, I don't know what I will do. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think that I just stressed myself out way too much for the Prometrics. A lot of the graduates that we were able to talk to, they were like, don't stress about the Prometrics, it'll be easy, blah blah blah. But when I was like studying dental T's and student RDH Prometric review, I was like, are you sure I shouldn't be worried? Because I feel like these are not just like some easy questions. I mean, it's not as if it was like really easy, but it was just questions that I felt like maybe personally I just didn't study for it enough during like lectures and stuff. But thank God for the review. I was able to pass, and that's what I used. I used the student RDH Prometric review by Claire, and also I used dental T's. I forgot to mention I took my Prometrics. I'm not sure if this is true, but our professors told us personally that we had to take the Prometrics before taking our clinical exam. For our clinical boards exam, I took it 3 weeks after taking my Prometrics, and this was back in March. This was while we were still in school. Our school personally wanted us to take all of our exams before graduation because they wanted us to be licensed already. Like they want us to graduate and not think about, you know, have to study again, because all the information was still fresh in our minds. So mind you, we took all of our boards before graduation on top of still taking classes and doing clinicals. For my clinical boards, like I said, I took it 3 weeks after I took my Prometrics. And with the clinical boards exam, finally Connecticut State allowed us to do the mannequin test. It used to be live people, but I think because of COVID, they kind of like, I think they changed it, or I'm not sure if it's always been like we had an option. I'm not sure, but all I know is that we took the mannequin one. It's not the mannequin exams that last year or back in 2020 when COVID started happened, because those calculus used to be black. Okay, it was, you can see it because it was black, but this year when we took ours, it was the same color as the tooth, so it's way harder to find the calculus on the mannequin things. But honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought. What I did to prepare really was that we had the mock ones that the 2021 used. So we just practiced on that on our downtime, or like when we don't have patients or anything like that during the day. That really helped me because I knew exactly what to expect, like the feeling of it. It's not really that different than like, you know, when you feel calculus on an actual person. The only difference is because like the gums are so, and there's no saliva, so it's like sometimes your Explorer kind of gets stuck on the gums. But it wouldn't be counted as a tissue trauma really. It would be a tissue trauma if it was like more than 3 millimeter like cut, or you know what I mean. Don't worry about that. Like you'll be fine. Like they won't be so strict about the gums, you know. If you had like a little tiny scratches on it, it's not gonna hurt you. Because honestly, everyone after taking that clinical boards exam, I was like, I had tissue trauma, like I'm definitely gonna fail. And guess what? I didn't. And a lot of people did too. Like we even cried about it because we're like, oh my god, like if it wasn't for the tissue trauma, or because there's no saliva, it's like, you know what I mean, it's not like, it's not smooth, it gets caught because the gums are just like gummy bears texture. But testing people, whoever will grade you, like will take account of that. My advice for the clinical boards is to use your ultrasonic, but in like a low power setting. If I didn't use my ultrasonic, I would have definitely missed a lot more calculus, because the calculus that was in the mannequin was actually very tough to remove, just like with hand scaling, because the calculus that they did was like big ones. Like I don't know how to tell you, it was thick and big. If I didn't use the ultrasonic, it'd probably take me, I don't know, like 20 minutes just to remove that whole chunk of calculus that they glued onto it. I don't know. The mannequins that we got for our clinical boards exam, the enamel was a different type of material, so the ultrasonic wasn't like shaving off the actual enamel, because our typodont that we were given by the school, when we used the ultrasonic on that, for some reason it shaved off the actual tooth, and that's what I was worried about too. But the one in the clinical boards that we were given, it was a different material. It won't come off, it won't shave off like the ones that the school gave us. Also, they're not watching you. No one's over your shoulder, breathing through your neck, like seeing whatever you're doing. So you can honestly just do whatever you want with it. Like, not whatever you want with it. Obviously, you can't just take it off the thing, because that's a violation. But you can use any type of instrument you want. Like, you can even use floss. That is what my number one tip, actually. Use floss after everything, because I used the floss and that's how I felt. If there was more interdental like calculus left, a little bit of residue, and the floss just took it right off. The detection portion, so there's a detection and there's a removal portion, and then there's probing, and then like they test you and all around, like they test you like if you can probe correctly. But the biggest thing that they test you of is just removing the calculus. I think per calculus surface is 5.5 points. That's a lot. I forgot what it was. I think there was 16 surfaces in total that had calculus that you had to remove. The detection part, I think there was only 5 surfaces or 6. I think it was 6. Or no, there were 4 teeth. Actually, not surfaces, I'm sorry. 4 teeth that you had to detect and say whether, on all 6 surfaces you have to say either yes, there's calculus, or no, there's not calculus. Don't overthink it. Just because you felt like you had a lot of no's didn't mean that you failed. Because when we were doing our practice or our mock exam, clinical exam, I had a bunch of no's. Like I didn't feel a single calculus. And it was right. Like they're not going to put calculus in a lot of places, really. That was what my exam was. I'm not sure like how everyone is, but don't worry about the tissue trauma, because they know it's not real, real gums, Moving on. I kind of rambled on in that one. The last and final exam, the NBDHE. Like I said, the one that they gave us this year was the long version, which was the 9-hour one. It was 350 questions. You saw me guys start studying around December, and I did that productive day vlog where I went to Panera and I studied, and I actually did that quite a few times during the winter break. But after winter break ended, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I completely I just didn't have the energy. It was just too much. I had school, I had clinicals. Clinicals was like 36 hours a week, and that doesn't even include lectures. And I would make time to study in the weekends, but not every day. I was not consistent. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, I studied for 4 months straight for this. But no, I did not. Actually, to be quite honest with you guys, I studied like consistently and 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day studying. I started 2 weeks before my exam date. Let me tell you guys what I used in order to pass my NBDHE. So my school actually offered us the Student RDH book by Claire. So they went ahead and ordered everyone in my class the Student RDH. It's this book, and then you also get an online one, so that you can either do it online and the computer, because some people prefer that, or some people like to study hard copy and writing down stuff. Personally, I like to do a little bit of both, but mainly this is the book that I used. There are some topics here that you have to only use on the online one, or else they don't tell you information in this book. So my school already automatically added it to our tuition, so that we had no choice really but to use this one. I know you guys know the other competitor. I think it's Andy RDH. I don't know anything about Andy RDH. I don't think anyone in my class bought the Andy RDH because we all had this. What I did use also was the Andy RDH app. That's different from Andy RDH, like the actual boards. Like it also comes in like a book too and like online thing, just like Student RDH. But the Andy RDH app, I think it was $15-17, and it was just practice questions, and it's literally an app. You go on your phone and you do some practice questions, and that one I didn't use as much. I just used it just to see, like, if I'm not home or if I'm out somewhere, I could just go on my phone and just do some practice questions. Or like if I'm out eating with friends, like we're waiting for food, I'll use the Andy RDH app. But this is expensive, okay? Well, I'm not really sure how much my school got it for. I think they had a discount because it was such like a big order. But I think this one is like $400. I think I looked online, and there was like the package deals or whatever. I saw that it went up to like 300 something, almost $400. So I just wanted to let you know, just in case you guys wanted to like order this or something. But anyways, I will explain to you guys how I use this book. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna show you exactly how this book works. So basically, you have this like kind of, don't mind my nail, please. Anyways, I did white out a bunch of my scores that I did because I do plan on selling this book because this is not cheap. Anyways, so basically what you do is these are all the topics that you get to cover, and what you do is that in each one there's a quiz, set 1 quiz, and there's a set 2 quiz, and you basically, before even like reviewing that topic, you go ahead and take the quiz, and it'll let you know what your score is, and that's where you put this for. And then the same thing for quiz 2, and you compare. It basically shows you which one that your weakest topic or subject is and your strongest one, and you basically kind of rank them. So as you can tell, I guess community oral health is my weakest one. So I put number 1 on that, which is going to be the first subject I go over. And then the second one's instrumentation, and so forth and so forth. And then after you finish reviewing all of that, you retake the same exact, you retake the same exact quizzes, and then you put it down your new score here. And so you compare like how much progress you've made. And then you also take the mock exam, and all of that. But also, before you start off taking the quiz, I forgot to mention, the very beginning is that you do your confidence rating. So in each subject, you just put 1 to 10, like how confident are you in this subject. So for example, in pharmacology, I'd say I put a 4 because I really was not confident. Like pharmacology is a lot of information. But yeah, so you do that, and then take the quiz, and then rank which ones that you need to study the most, and which one you need to study the last. And then you have your little calendar here, and basically it just tells you, like, you just put down how many days you think that you need in order to complete that subject. So for community oral health, I said that I think 4 days would be enough. And I don't know if I told you guys, but I mentioned I did not follow through with this plan because I actually had my my exam on the end of April, and I didn't study 2 weeks before it. So this calendar, don't even know. I didn't do this. Okay, I didn't. I'm bad, but you know what? I passed, so that's all that matters. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that there's calendars. You get it. I'm not really good at explaining, but yeah. So here's just an example. I didn't do it as much, but so it basically looks like it looks like a checklist, and it's a checklist because it tells, like, you kind of check it off whether you know that information already or not, and then there's like ones that you leave unchecked to see like if you still need to like
review it in depth, like more in depth, or like, I didn't really pay attention to the check marks as much. I just basically just read everything. Okay, so my book is very filled out and kind of messy. But I wanted to let you guys know that with student RDH, I'm not sure if Andy RDH does this too, but Claire, which is the person who made this book, Claire does these memory, I forgot what she called it, memory something, and just in order to make you memorize it, mnemonics and all that stuff. But for example, like for you to remember the muscle of mastication, there's masseter, the medial pterygoid, the temporalis, and the lateral pterygoid. So it's MMTL. So she's thinking of mom makes tasty lasagna, because mastication is when you use it when you eat. So lasagna, you think of, hungry, like something like that. But she makes a lot of these things for you to remember. It's like this, the medial pterygoid allows you to say me, so it's like when you're closing your jaw, and when you say lateral, you say la, and you're opening it. I hope that makes sense. I'm not very good at explaining. And then of course at the end of each topic, like I said, there's these quizzes, but these are not the same quizzes as the ones that you take online. And the one that you take, oh, this is Claire, by the way. The one that you take online is the one that you actually put down, whatever, because there's set 1 quiz course and there's set 2's quiz course. And then this is actually where you put the days that you need to study for each topic. Like I said, that will help you make this calendar. But when I was taking the MBDHE, there's 4 parts to it. There's 2 sections, but 4 parts, because it's like cut into parts. But the first section is just based off of everything else. The second one is just all case studies. Personally, is that the case studies was, I feel like, the reason I passed, because I felt like the case studies was a lot easier, because you think about it like, you're thinking about as if it was your real patient. But the first section was very difficult. I flagged questions where I wasn't sure if I was right, and I was like counting. I was like, okay, if I get this many flagged questions, meaning like if I get all of these wrong, that means my possible way to like pass this is, I was just calculating. And I think that took more of my time, really, because I was like nervous about like failing. Oh, I did want to mention to you guys like what type of subjects or topics I mainly got, because every test, even if you take it the same day, everyone has the different questions, okay? Different. And also the NBDHE is not like the NCLEX. It's not like like it stops if certain, like if you like it stops on a certain question if they think that like you've answered enough or whatever. Like it's not like that. This one is, you have to take the whole like entire thing from question 1 to question 350, like from whatever, But the most, I studied so much for microbiology, but guess what? I didn't have a single question on microbiology. I was mad. I was like, wow, I took so much time studying microbiology, but wow. But what I had the most was actually, I had a lot of pharmacology. I had a few like embryology questions, but not too much. That one was actually what I was scared of, and thank God I didn't have enough. Like, I mean, I didn't have too much questions on that, because, like developing the fetus and stuff like that, that's a whole nother story. I had a few oral anatomy questions. That one I was pretty good at. I had a few perio, but I had more perio questions from the case studies. I'm pretty confident in perio. I think that's kind of one of my top subjects anyways, but that's me personally. So my thoughts on the student RDA, like I said, there was quite a few typos to it, but overall I thought that it did help me, honestly. I personally did not go back to my old textbook at all, like like the ones that you get like for lectures and stuff like that, like the school provides you and stuff. I didn't use any of that. I know that like my professors suggested us to use that too, but I didn't. I just thought that the student RDH had like good information, like it was enough information for me to like remember everything I learned. Like I said, I started studying consistently and like every single day, like almost
8 hours a day or more than that studying 2 weeks before my actual NBDHE exam. I also forgot to mention, I also purchased NBDHE crack. There's dental crack, but there's NBDHE crack. It's basically just a bunch of flashcards, like a whole ton of flashcards, and I think you can access on your phone, but I didn't really access anything on my phone except the NDRDH because I just prefer to study on my laptop. I was overthinking, so I purchased a bunch of like reviews to make sure like I was like I have every information that I should know. Words of encouragement, you guys, you know more than you think. Like, I cannot stress that enough. You know more than you think. Even if you're like studying for boards right now and you're like, when did I even learn this information? And you're like reading something off of like, I don't know, NDRDH or Student RDH, and you're like, why don't I remember this? Just trust me, you know more than you know. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that how I studied was I made a lot of mnemonics. And you know what? I don't know how to explain, so I'm just going to give you an example. So for example, in pharmacology, in blood pressure medications or, hypertension medications, the difference, because, there's the ACE inhibitors, like there's the beta blockers and CCB or channel calcium blockers. So I'm going to give you an example of how I trick my brain or how I make my brain remember things. Amlodipine or amlodipine, however you say it, but they end in pine. And how I remembered it was actually, I didn't make this up. My friend Casey did, and she helped me a lot with remembering a lot of things because her brain kind of works the same way as me. Like, we have to make up weird things in order for our brains to remember it. Anyway, we know that pine is CCB. It really doesn't relate to it, but just think of California pine trees. Yeah, so California pine trees. So if you think of medication and in pine, we know we can think of California, and California starts with a C, so CCB. So yeah, like those type of weird things just make me remember things. And beta blockers, it ends with OLO, like alol. Beta blockers, beta blockers has the BLO, so I think of alol. Does that make sense? Like, the LO, like LOL, beta blocker. How I really remembered a lot of things, even throughout like my whole entire program, like how I studied for exams. That's how we just do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I hope it wasn't too boring, and I hope it helped. If you guys have any other further questions, just comment down below, and I always comment back. So I always reply back to all my comments, so just let me know if you guys have any more questions, if there's anything I missed. I think that's really all that I needed to say. I hope it was helpful. Like I said, you guys know more than you think that you do. Like, you know more than you know. Like, I don't know how else I could say that, but you'll make it. If I can make it, you guys can make it. Let me know if you have any more questions. Just comment them down below, and I will be replying to you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and good luck with your semesters if you guys started, or good luck if you are going to be starting, and good luck to whoever is planning to take their exams. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!